Okay, Gypsy, this is Stan.
Hi, Gypsy.
Let you guys
Hi.
talk.
I'm Detective Hancock. I'm with Green County Sheriff's Office. How are you today? Good. You need to be honest with me. And if you're involved in anything that I'm about ready to tell you, then you need to tell me, okay? Your mom's dead, okay? Now, what I want to ask you is, your mom's passed away, okay? And she's deceased, all right? Now, what I want to ask you, did you have involvement in this? Okay.
No.
Hang on, listen to me for just a second, okay? What happened with your mom that night?
I don't know what happened with my mom at all.
Okay, just listen to me, okay, sweetheart? You know what happened to your mom, okay? And I know that you know.
You think that it's me? Why would you think that it's me? I have always loved my mom. My mom and I are best friends.
Listen to me. Please don't get yourself in this hole, and that's what you're doing.
I do love my mom.
I know you do. I know you, sweetheart, I know you love your mom. I have no doubt that you love your mom. But why did Nick hurt her? Now's the time to be truthful, sweetheart. No more lies. Did you kill your mom?
No, sir.
Did you help Nicholas kill your mom?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a cancer survivor and passionate young lady, Gypsy Rose Blanchard, and her mother, Dee Dee Blanchard, from Springfield, Missouri, to the stage.
Thank you, Miss Ruby. And I always said, you're the reason I was born to be your mama.
Breaking news this morning, 48-year-old Dee Dee Blanchard was found dead inside her home, and her 19-year-old daughter Gypsy is still considered missing.
It all started receiving a call on June 14th to check the well-being of a family.
Gypsy and Dee Dee were Hurricane Katrina survivors. Everybody believed that they were coming here to the Ozarks to make a better life.
There was a Facebook post that was quite alarming. We were actually thinking that it was somebody that hacked into the Facebook, and it wasn't actually a threat.
Gypsy was in a wheelchair. She had leukemia, and she was having seizures, and she had to be tube fed.
As the sheriff, my primary responsibility at that time was really to ensure that her well-being was okay.
Whatever they were going through was incredibly hard for them, especially with the medical conditions. And so everybody gathered around them and would try to help them out as much as possible.
It just proves that happy endings are not just in fairy tales, they're real.
The Facebook post was, quote, "The bitch is dead," and another post stating, "I fucking slashed that fat pig and raped her sweet innocent daughter. Her scream was so fucking loud, LOL."
Finally in. They're finally in. Yep.
Okay, good morning. I want to specify at the beginning of this press conference that this is an ongoing investigation. And I want to start off with saying things are not always as they appear.
The truth is, okay, I'll admit it. I did actually stab her mom. I will admit it.
I know. Okay.
The only reason I did it is because I did it for me and her. That's the real reason I did it. I would have never did it if it was not for me and her.
Okay.
So I know that he loves me, he would do anything for me and to be with me.
Did Gypsy know that you were going to kill her mother?
Honestly, she asked me to.
Okay.
Both Facebook postings were authored by Gypsy. The prosecutor has filed charges this morning for first-degree murder. This is a tragic event surrounded by mystery and public deception. Gypsy can walk without assistance or a wheelchair, and she can do that very well.
This individual is alleged to have conspired with Nicholas Godejohn to stab her mother to death so that they could be together. The penalty is life imprisonment or death.
Seeing Gypsy Blanchard walk on her own 2 feet in a Wisconsin courtroom was a shock to friends and neighbors.
Is she sick?
I don't know yet. We're trying to figure that out. Yes.
To see her walk was really upsetting. Obviously, if that's a lie, then who knows what all was a lie.
We really don't know the true background of this family, as we have unearthed the appearance of a long financial fraud scheme.
The family got medical airlifts, Disney travel, and free housing over the years because of Gypsy's supposed disabilities.
It was a facade that translated online. Donations pouring in for Gypsy's reported muscular dystrophy and leukemia.
We have not confirmed the age of Gypsy. It appears that there is several date of births that have been used over a period of time.
I almost want to say, man, I can't believe I even wanted to associate with. Why did I even help them? I just never would see that that little girl really wasn't who she was supposed to be.
State's Exhibit 53. Ask if you can tell me what that is.
Ms. Blanchard is charged with murder in the first degree. When you commit a first-degree murder, you knowingly cause the death of another person after deliberation.
Analysis of cell phones provided evidence of numerous text messages between Gypsy Blanchard and Nicholas Godejohn.
Nicholas Godejohn was someone that Gypsy Blanchard met online. They began a online dating relationship.
During the text, the two discussed Nicholas killing Claudine.
At the beginning, it looks like a tabloid case. It looks like here's some people in some weird outfits and they're pretending to be disabled and they're scamming everybody. And then there's this like sort of horrible murder and the Facebook status that bitch is dead. Like all of it is very tabloid. And then gradually that story just sort of fell apart. Still, it feels to me like it's developing into something else.
Still ask the question, how do you kill your own mother? I mean, there's got to be a reason. There's got to be some abuse there. You don't just, I'm gonna kill my mother because I want to be with a boyfriend. Like I told my mom when I called my mom and talked to her about it. I said, Mama, I said, I've been I was mad at you before. I said, but I've never, ever in a million years thought about killing you. I said, for me to think about killing you, I said, you'd have had to done some pretty bad stuff to me.
I don't remember.
I would be curious if anybody Gypsy has talked to feels they're getting the full story.
This is actually kind of the first time I've been honest. Besides being honest, with my attorneys. Even that, I haven't been completely honest with them, so.
How would you describe your mom?
Unique. I mean, I used to always think that maybe she's a little overprotective. So if I had to say one word about her, it would be overprotective.
How old are you? You're 1? And where's your cranial? Very good. And where's your findalis? Yes. Very, very good.
I really didn't think any abuse was going on. It's like when you're abused, but you live that way your whole life, you don't really know that you're being abused. You don't know any different.
Looking at the open ocean now, and it's beautiful.
I knew that I was different, or my life was different from other kids, but people thought of us as, the sweetest mother-daughter family ever. The best 2 people in the world.
What illnesses did your mom say that you had?
Asthma, epilepsy, hearing impaired, vision impaired, fed with a feeding tube, paralyzed from the waist down, slow, so retardation, and among other things, I just can't remember them. I was on breathing medication, medication for seizures, a medication to help go to the bathroom, pain medication, anxiety medication, just everything. I would have to put on the breathing machine every night. I hated it though, because it seemed to make my breathing worse, not better. And then another machine was for the feeding tube. It was controlling what I'd eat. My medications would be put through there. I really wouldn't even have to be awake, so she could put whatever in my body and I wouldn't even know.
Basically, each one of these paper clips is some medical record where Dee Dee essentially lied to the doctor about something. Mentally, Gypsy is behind. She's at the level of a 7-year-old on mother's information. And this is something that you see almost across all of the records is upon mother's information, upon history by mother. So she's talking to the doctor here, and she's talking about how she has mental and developmental delays, needs assistance. Apparently, while holding her hands over Gypsy's ears so as not to offend, history of mental retardation, 7-year-old level per mom. And so this was the one time where a doctor actually put in the record that Dee Dee's got her hands over Gypsy's ears. So Gypsy can't even hear what mom is telling the doctor. Then we get into the family history. The family history changed depending on what doctor she was at. Mm-hmm. You'll notice here, we don't get a whole lot of,
She's at the cardiologist.
Right, she's at the cardiologist, and so they all died of a heart attack. Now, this was the first one that jumped out at me. She ends up going to the neurologist, Dr. Flasterstein. And so, very first thing right off the bat, mother is not a good historian, which is interesting because he puts that in bold and underlines it.
Dee Dee and I met at the bowling alley one night. Met up again a couple of weeks later, and we started dating then. She got pregnant. She got pregnant, and being from the South, I guess, I was raised where, you got a girl pregnant and, you got married. There was no other question about what you did. I was 17. I woke up on my 18th birthday and I'm like, what am I doing here? She was kind of into some dark things. She started talking a little bit about witchcrafts and just different weird dark stuff like that. It was kind of weird. She had a pet tarantula.
Dee Dee was my aunt, real weird girl. I would think she's bipolar, no doubt. Multiple personalities, perhaps. Definitely an evil person, I would say, To shave your kid's head and say that she's got leukemia, you're a sick individual.
At this time, we'd like to present to you South Lafourche ROTC Military Queen, Miss Claudina Pete. Her escort, Sergeant Earl Lofton. Claudine Pete, daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Claudine Pete Sr.
What was Dee Dee like as a child?
Do I, baby?
What was Dee Dee like as a child?
What was Dee Dee like?
Dee Dee? She was okay. We were pretty close, me and her. Yeah, I'd give her everything that she wanted anyway, whatever she wanted, and except a dog in the house. I didn't want that. Now we wind up, we got 2 dogs in the house. But she was something else.
She was a very filthy person. If it didn't go her way, she'd see to it that you would pay. And did we pay? Paid a lot.
She opened up credit cards with my dad's name, my grandpa's name, ran up crazy bills. Supposedly, America's Most Wanted was looking for this girl.
The minute she'd have set foot on the bar, the law would have arrested her.
Yeah, she
She
was
had
wanted.
made bad checks in Slidell,
Slidell, she was wanted.
bad checks in New Orleans.
Wherever she went, she was doing all kind of stuff.
She was poisoning my stepmother. Supposedly, she was giving her some Roundup in her food and stuff.
She was putting some poison in my food, the same thing she had put in the plant.
And she wound up, she stayed 9 months in bed. After that, she couldn't get up. I didn't think she was gonna make it.
There was nothing she couldn't get away with. Her mama was a little bit like her.
Yeah, her mama too. Her mama was a shoplifter and all kind of stuff. I don't know how many times she had to go to court for shoplifting and all that
She'd
stuff.
go to the washateria, she'd steal the people's clothes. She had stolen how much money from your daddy?
Oh, when we first got married, she had stolen, I think it's $3,000 or $4,000 from my daddy.
I think ever since my grandmother died, Dee Dee kind of went off the deep end.
The day that her mom died, Dee Dee was in the house somewhere, and Dee Dee was starving her. Like Dee Dee wasn't giving her anything to eat. I asked her sister, I was like, I hate to ask this, but you think Dee Dee had anything to do with her mom's death? And she, said, now I wonder. That's how evil she was.
To leave your mama dirty and asking for food and not want to feed her.
Yeah.
That's evil.
Were you sad at all when you heard she was dead?
Me? I didn't believe it.
It didn't.
It just didn't sink. It took a few days before, you know, I didn't believe that she was dead. I thought it was another one of her tricks.
I was like, who did Dee Dee piss off now? You know, what kind of shit did Dee Dee get into? I wasn't thinking, oh my God, my aunt's dead. Because I figured that one day she pissed off somebody to that point, you know? And I actually did think that it'd probably be Gypsy, you know? And whenever we later got the word that Gypsy was fine and she was by her boyfriend's house, we were like, she killed her mom. She finally did it. She couldn't take it anymore, you know? She finally just said, fuck it all. I'm killing this bitch.
Do you think she got what she deserved?
According to
Yes.
Gypsy, yes.
Yeah, she got what she deserved.
And all the brothers and sisters don't care about Dee Dee no more. Gypsy, she got cremated. She said, what you want me to do with the ashes? Everybody said, I don't want her. I don't
Darla
want
said
her.
flush them.
I told her, flush that in the toilet.
Her sister said flush that in the toilet.
She said, we're going to bring that in Mama's room, make her a mask and everything. I said, you gonna pay for it? I'm not paying for it. You going to get that? They said, we can't afford it. I said, flush it in the toilet.
Anytime Gypsy and I were together, her mom was always present. She was immediately like a filter for us. You know, like Gypsy wouldn't talk about anything personal while we were together. That's like really the big red flag, thinking back on it all now.
Dee Dee would always hold Gypsy's hand. You know, it was like, I don't know, it was almost like, you know, just if I squeeze it, you'll know what to say. I mean, that was just so strange to me. Just to feel it now, I think that was really strange. Even in videos I've seen since then, I'm like, yep, it's the same thing. It's like she's holding her hand. I mean, now it was maybe a control thing.
She'd hit me with a coat hanger, or her palm, and I'd have to take so many slaps for depending on how severe it was that I did.
Did you ever try to hit back?
Never. Never. The first time I ran away from home, I had met a friend. We both went to this sci-fi fantasy convention called VisionCon. I had told him vaguely about what was going on at home. And he told me, you know, you just pack your stuff and you can come live with me in Arkansas. And I said, okay. I snuck out, got a ride from a stranger, and went over to his place, and then within like 4 hours, my mom found me at his place because we had mutual friends in common. So she was starting to call the cops on him. And she took me back home and smashed my computer with a hammer, smashed my cell phone with a hammer, and said, if you ever try to do that again, I'm gonna smash your fingers with a hammer. It was a rough year. I call that the bad times. She had taken this dog leash and clipped it to a pair of handcuffs and then clipped the handcuffs to the bed and it was like that for about 2 weeks. My mom had actually convinced a lawyer to draw up some papers saying that I was incompetent. So I thought if I had tried to go to the police, they'd look at these papers and say, she's retarded. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
Gypsy has essentially fallen through every crack there is in the system. The Greene County Sheriff's deputies came out to the house on an anonymous report that Gypsy was potentially being abused. And they came to the house, they spoke with Dee Dee, and Dee Dee did exactly what she does all the time. She manipulated the police officers, showed them a few things, and they left. And at that point, Gypsy has absolutely nowhere else to turn.
Literally everyone failed her, literally. The doctors who were positioned as there to help her didn't help her. Her father, who I think was in a very difficult position, couldn't help her. How was she supposed to think anybody could?
I was just kind of at that point where you're like, I'm angry at the world, and this is unfair. Why couldn't anybody figure this out before it got this bad? I liked the Disney movie Tangled. It's about Rapunzel. She's a princess to this kingdom, and she's kidnapped by Mother Gothel from her real family. And Mother Gothel keeps her in this tower for all of her life and tells her, don't leave this tower. So that is all she knows.
I think that Gypsy just wanted her life to be like any fairy tale princess and have the perfect ending. You know, all the bad villains get what they deserve.
At the end, Mother Gothel died. She got thrown out a window because Rapunzel tried to stand up for herself and leave her tower. But in Disney movies, everything's a fantasy. It's a fairy tale, and life is not a fairy tale. I learned all that the hard way.